Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be diving into another real-time Snowflake scenario. And trust me, if you're already working as a Snowflake engineer, then this video is must watch for you. So let me take you through with a common client requirement where client is putting some file into AWS S3, and from there we need to take the files, we need to ingest those files into a target table into the Snowflake raw layer. Now, if the records are correct and matching with the file format, then we need to dump into the target table. And if there are any failure record, those should be ingested automatically into the fail table or in the faulty record table. Now, that's not it. After that faulty record tables, we need to send those records again to the client, and client does not have the access of Snowflake. So we need to send back to the AWS S3. I hope the requirement is clear. Now take a pause and just think how you can proceed with it. Again, I'm going to take you through with the step by step. The use case in a nutshell is client puts CSV file into S3 bucket. We load these files into Snowflake. If record are good, then they go to a main table. If records are bad or there are faulty records, then we need to create a faulty record table. And after that, those faulty records are written back to the separate S3 folder. Okay, so let's see that I do have an AWS S3 bucket, which is called Snowflake project bucket here. I have created two folders here. One is source folder where I have a customer file, Brazil customer, India customer, and USA customer. So these are the sample files I have taken. Now in the rejected files, there is no, because this is going to be from the scratch. Now we need to take the data from this Snowflake project bucket, and where we need to dump it into our Snowflake. So I'm going to share this entire script with you again. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a customer table. I'm going to create a customer table. And because we need to take the data from AWS to Snowflake, and that is going to be CSV, so we need a file format. And this is again going to be repeated. I hope you are already clear with that we have to create a file format, we have to create storage integration, and then we need to create a stage. Because here I want you to populate the data from a different stage or from a different folder and dump into the different folder. So I will be creating a two stages here. One which will be pointing to the source folder and another which is pointing to the rejected files folder. So then I'm going to create this CSV type file format, which is going to take a general like CSV skip header and all. Why I'm taking a date format? Because I have purposefully created this date into this format into my sample file. Also, there are few bad records, okay, but we'll get to know about it because just assume that, okay, the client is just putting directly on S3 and they can have a millions of record and we just need to dump only the correct record in the Snowflake. So I'm going to create now, next is the storage integration, which is already created. I'm not going to recreate that one. This is pointing to that bucket and all. And we can see this storage allowed location here. And then we have a source stage. So I need to create a source stage now. So for that source stage, because this is going to be read from the source folder, so this time I have to update it and going to add like that because this is the complete URL. So I'm gonna create this stage. Now to check it, if that stage is working fine or not, you can simply run a list command. If there would be any problem or if there would be any error, we will get the error. Otherwise, we can see that all the files are listed. So this means my stage and my Snowflake and AWS connection is successfully built. Now I will be creating a target stage. Why? Because all the rejected records should go into this particular record. So I'm going to dump this target stage and here I'm pointing to the rejected files. For authentication, I'm using the storage integration and I'm sure you are all set that how we're going to do the storage integration, how we are going to pass the role ARN and all. If not, then you can again go and check my part number 14 or 15th. Now, so let's break this requirement, break one by one. So to dump the data from S3 to customer table, we will be using a copy into command. However, we need to take only the correct record. So if you remember, when I was explaining about the copy into table command, there is one parameter called on error. So here I just say that if there is any error in those record, those should we're going to give a on error equal to continue. So we have couple of couple of options here. So I wanted to copy all correct record in target table. To copy all correct record, for we are going to use copy into table. We have created this customer table. Then we have this stage called AWS stage. I want to copy the data from this stage to table. So I'll be writing copy into customer from AWS stage. But before that, before just performing it, I want to show you what if there are any, if you just wanted to basically perform a dry run, whether there would be any failure record or not. For that, you can run one command, validation mode equal to return all errors. So what this is going to do, it's going to validate your tables against all the files which is in this AWS stage, but it will be taking reference of this file format, and then it will throw an error if there would be any bad record or something. Okay, so it's basically return spelling is incorrect. Here we're going to check it. Now let's see how many record we are going to get it. So you see here, there are 6,000 record, 5987 record, which is basically the bad record. And it is coming under the different files. We have 3 bad record in India file, 1 is the Brazil file, and in the USA file. And I have created purposefully these bad records. Okay. In case you need the sample data, just put it into the comment box and I'll share with you. So here you will look at it. There is some conversion error, some parsing error we are going to get it. Because in the USA we have 11 columns, while in the table we have 10 columns. And these are some data type conversion error, which is fine. Okay. But requirement is it should insert all the correct data into the target table. For that, I will be using a keyword parameter called on error. So we do have 3 values on error: skip file, continue, and abort statement. So if I'm going to do abort statement, then definitely this is not going to not going to copy the correct record into my table. For that, you will be choosing on error equal to continue. So what this is going to do, all the valid data will be ingested from this stage to the customer table. So let me run this command, copy into customer from AWS on error equal to continue. This is going to insert few records here. And once this is done, I can validate whether there was some data or not. So it's going to take some time because it is writing 3 files, or maybe depending on my network speed also. Yeah, it took 17 seconds to copy this data. Now let me check how many records we do have in the customer. So there are 12,000 records here, which is fine. So those 12,000 records were successfully loaded, and those were the correct records. Okay. Now I need to create a separate table. So this part is done, customer table, correct record. But whatever the failure records are there, although we figured it out by performing this validate command, we basically figured out all the error records by running this command, copy into from validation mode. But we need to write into one table. So for this, we are going to use one table function in Snowflake, which is validate. So we have a inbuilt Snowflake table function called validate, which is going to validate the files loaded in the past execution of copy into command and return all the error. So when I run this copy into command, I will be having a validate function. This validate function is going to show you, I'm going to run this one. Look at this. This is my validate table function I said. So you're going to use table. Now on which table we have used? So this is a target table and I'm writing into the customer. So you use a target table. Now the job ID, either you can mention this query ID or you can mention a last. So it is going to validate whatever the last record, whatever the last copy into activity perform in the session, it's going to refer that query ID. Now, very important point is this. If I'm going to use copy into customer on error equal to abort statement, then this is not going to return any error. This is not going to return any result. Okay. And even if I'm going to write copy into command and then in place of this, I'm going to write select clause, select $1, $2, $3 something, then also it is not going to give you any result. Okay, so if I just take it and check it, whatever data was not loaded correctly or whatever we were having a failure record, now this validate keyword, validate function is going to list down all those records. So if you will look at very carefully, 5987, these are the all records which try to insert into the customer table but failed because of these conversion or passing error. I'm going to take only these four columns, but there are other records also like error code. Like let me actually show it to you. So if I just write select star and all, then you will be seeing that it's not just the four column, there will be around 10 plus columns here, which is gonna give you like file name, error code, and the column number, the row number, and those kind of records you will be getting here. Okay, it's gonna take time. I guess it's my internet speed today, probably. Okay, like look at this one here. So you're gonna like SQL code state and all those things. We're gonna get it over here. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is because I need to write it into the failure records. I need to write these failure record into the faulty tables. So I am going to create a faulty tables by using this validate keyword. So I am going to run this command, validate. Now my entire faulty record, like all those 5987 record should be in this table called faulty records. Okay, so we do have over here faulty record, which is perfectly fine. That's what my requirement. But there is another last step which is pending is that from this table, we need to dump the data into the AWS S3 target stage, which is rejected files here. Right now, you see there is no file, but I need to dump this data into my AWS S3 rejected file folder. So to do it, I'm sure you remember copy into location command, and there I'm going to write copy into target stage, and this is going to be the name of that file. Like you can pass any other name, suppose the customer name or customer failure or anything, you can keep it. From this faulty record, I'm using single equal to true because I want only the single file needs to be there. So if I'm going to run this command, copy into, so what it is going to do, whatever record we were having in this faulty record table will be written into this faulty record.csv file. So let's validate here whether we do have this file. If I'm going to refresh it, there you see faulty record.csv we are going to get over there. So this is the file which client is going to check in their S3 folder and going to get it. And will be like fixing the record, and later you can just rerun this entire part. But there is one problem in this solutions. I mean, not much problem, but a small problem is that here you are doing a source stage, target stage, and every step you are running manually and manually. So what my requirement is, or obviously you would be looking for something automated solutions that as soon as the the client is saying that I'm gonna put the files at 12 p.m. in the afternoon and 5 p.m. and then 8 p.m. So my job needs to be executed 3 times. So what you can do, I can better create a one stored procedure which is going to take the parameters like a target table, source stage and target stage, and we pass it, and then we just run that stored procedure. And for scheduling, you can use the task also. So let's see that. I mean, I like to create a stored procedure. It's going to be pretty easy. I have already rewritten, but let me just show it to you. So first thing is like we're gonna create a replace procedure. Like this is just the basic syntax. Then load and export with the error. You can name it anything. Like basically uh, like in any name. You can say like failure faulty records. You can say it faulty records export. So when I'm going to run the when I'm like faulty record export now, I want these parameters. Why? Because what if you wanted to do it same thing for the product table, order table, inventory table? You are not going to create a different procedures, right? You will be having a generic procedure which will be taking parameters, and based on that parameter, you will be performing those things. Now, this is going to be return string. Language, I'm going to use SQL and then as dollar begin. Now, the very first step is whatever we did it over here. The very first step we did it is copy into command, copy into customer, then copy like we created a failure record using a validate function, then we give it a copy into S3. So we have three steps here. Because this stays and all, this part is not going to become under this procedure. This you will be already taken care of it, right? So the first step is it gonna copy the data into the customer table. Second, it will be copy the faulty record into the fault record table, like copy all the failure record into faulty record table, and from there it will be running a copy into location. So we need to focus on these three parts. So let's look at to first one. This is copy SQL, or you can say copy into table. Okay, this copy into SQL is basically going to run copy into table from source stage. This is going to be the parameter we have already declared here, table name and source stage. And I'm going to write on error equal to continue. So I did just rephrase this 49 to 51 into by using parameters here. Okay, now I immediately want to execute it. So that's why I will be running a execute immediate and this copy SQL variable. So this is going to be my part one. Second part, I want to save the failure record into a faulty tables. Now, how this also you can create a new table, but because this I just wanted to read it in all the time, so I'm gonna write create a replace table faulty record. Then here, you remember I selected these file category error rejected records from this validate customer. So here you will be taking all those columns. Look at these. You took file category error rejected record from table validate function, and this table name is nothing but your our target table. And then it gonna take job ID equal to last. Okay, now once my data into the faulty record tables, now the next step, I will be running a copy into stage. This is going to be faulty records. I can write like faulty record CSV. From faulty records, this is from faulty record. It's going to be the table, single equal to true, override equal to true. Like this is again the parameter of copy into command. Okay, and then you are going to run execute immediate. So let me just create this procedure for you. So my function faulty record export got created. Now, just to verify it, because even though we have user override equal to true, but let me just delete it. Okay, so I mean you will be having a complete clarity that yes, it has the procedure also rewritten that. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete it now. If you will look into it, there is no file. So just to rerun it from the scratch by itself, I'm also going to do one more thing. I'm going to recreate this target table. Okay, otherwise we will be seeing it that because those files have already been processed, so you may go for a force equal to continue and all. So let's look into it. It's a zero record here. Now let me just call whatever this function I have created. This is basically procedures faulty record expert, and we will be passing these table name, source stage and target stage, and let's just call it. Okay, so let me just see that. Okay, now this completed successfully. To validate it, you can run three commands. Select star from customer. You can check if there is any data. Yes, we have 12,000 record. Now let me look into the faulty records because we created another record or like another table, faulty records. And this is a create or replace command. So you can see that. And now coming to here into the rejected files, into the object, yes, we do have it. So that's how you can perform this entire activities. And now this we you do not again need to manually run this procedure. You can schedule with the help of a task. So you can create one task and then you can basically use a warehouse schedule time, and as you can run this command. Even like if you wanted to drop a notifications to the client that yes, we have uploaded some rejected record, you can use a success like error indication, something like that. You can run it error, like basically for this we want a success indication because you're gonna you're gonna write a task and that will be like automatically scheduled. So I hope you have understood that how you are going to get a file from this AWS S3, and if those are correct record, we will be inserting into my target table and those failure record will be inserted into the fail table. If you have any questions or confusion, feel free to write into type into the comment box. I'll take care of it. Thank you. Have a good day.